On my birthday, my boyfriend Ethan stood me up for his girl buddy. Over the phone, his tone was impatient. Chloe's heartbroken and not in a good mood, I have to be with her. We have a purely platonic friendship, you know that. Audrey, can you please be more understanding? I looked at the table full of dishes I had painstakingly made, now cold, and hung up the phone. I didn't cry, didn't make a scene. I simply dialed another number, calmly. Hey, Julian, I think I just got dumped. On the other end, Julian, the city's most eligible bachelor, instantly tensed at my words. Who? Where are you? Wait there, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Half an hour later, a limited edition Bugatti pulled up below my building in the old neighborhood. Julian stepped out, his long legs taking a stride. He took off his bespoke suit jacket and wrapped it around me, pulling me into his embrace, which carried a cool, piney scent. Right in front of me, he called Ethan back and put him on speaker. His voice was arrogant and scornful. Hey, Ethan, you dare bully my sister? From today on, she's with me. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, we also have a purely platonic friendship, so don't get any ideas. Julian? How are you with Audrey? On the other end of the line, Ethan was completely flustered, his voice stammering. Julian let out a scoff. Do I need to report to you when I'm with my sister? His arm tightened, pulling me even deeper into his embrace. Aren't you supposed to be with Chloe? Go ahead and be with her, don't get distracted. Audrey's got me here. With that, he hung up, not giving Ethan a chance to utter another word. He looked down at me, the arrogance in his eyes instantly softening to a pang of concern. Why are your hands so cold? I didn't speak, just looked at him. 7 years. I had been with Ethan for 7 years. From college through to our careers, I'd eaten the cheapest cafeteria meals with him and lived in unheated rented apartments. I thought we were old get married. Today was my 28th birthday. I'd spent the entire day making his favorite barbecue ribs, honey-glazed chicken wings, and a rich seafood bisque. In the end, all I got was a call canceling our date. And the reason, again, was Chloe. His girl buddy, who always came before me. Get in. Julian's voice broke my train of thought. He opened the passenger door, shielding my head with his hand as he helped me inside. I'm taking you somewhere nice. The limited edition sports car's engine roared to life, speeding away and leaving the old neighborhood far behind. The car stopped at a private club on the hilltop. The manager was already respectfully waiting at the entrance. Pushing open the doors, a grand birthday party unfolded beneath a massive crystal chandelier. There were champagne towers, a sea of roses, and my favorite band was playing. Julian's friends came over and piled gifts in front of me. Happy birthday, Audrey. Happy birthday, future sister-in-law. Julian's been talking about you nonstop. Julian playfully kicked the friend who'd called me sister-in-law and joked, don't talk nonsense. Audrey and I have a purely platonic friendship. Everyone immediately caught on and started chanting. Right, purely platonic friendship. We get it. Long live purely platonic friendship. Their teasing made me laugh. It was the first time I'd laughed since my breakup. Julian handed me a glass of warm milk and quietly asked, feeling a bit better now? I nodded. He ruffled my hair, a natural and affectionate gesture. That's good. I took out my phone and snapped a photo of the scene before me. I didn't deliberately photograph Julian, I just captured the beautiful cake and champagne tower, with the lively crowd in the background. The caption read, New Year, time to love myself more. Then, I set it to be visible only to Ethan. After doing all that, I switched my phone to silent and tossed it into my bag. Tonight, I didn't want to be disturbed by anyone. When the party ended, Julian drove me home. He wasn't driving the flashy sports car anymore, he'd switched to a low-key black Bentley. The car stopped downstairs, but he didn't rush me out. Are you sure about this? He asked. Yes. 7 years, don't you feel it's a waste? I shook my head, looking out at the dim street lights. It's not a waste, it's a relief. A relief that I'd finally woken up from a self-deceiving fantasy. Julian didn't say anything more. He just reached into the back seat and pulled out a velvet box. A birthday gift. I opened it to find a diamond bracelet, with a tiny charm in the center. My initial. It's too much, I instinctively tried to refuse. But took my hand directly and put it on me himself. It's not expensive. When I give something to my sister, I only care if she likes it, not the price. His fingertips were warm, and when they accidentally brushed my wrist, I flinched. He paused for a moment, then casually clasped the bracelet. It looks good. When I got home, I turned on my phone. Dozens of missed calls, hundreds of text messages, all from Ethan. Audrey, where are you? Where is that in the photo? Who are you with? Why is Julian celebrating your birthday? When did you two get so close? Have you been secretly seeing him behind my back this whole time? His accusatory tone grew harsher with each message. I scrolled through them emotionlessly, not replying to a single one. A few minutes later, his phone call came through again. I hesitated, then answered. Audrey, you're getting bold, aren't you? Refusing to answer my calls now? Ethan's furious roar blared from the receiver. I held the phone away from my ear. What do you want? What's going on between you and Julian? Explain yourself. Explain what? I let out a light laugh. Ethan, we're over. When did I say we broke up? The moment you stood me up for Chloe, we were finished. Silence fell on the other end of the line. After a few seconds, his voice softened, laced with a barely perceptible panic. Audrey, I was wrong. I shouldn't have yelled at you. Chloe just broke up with someone, and she drank too much, so I couldn't leave. I didn't mean it. You and Julian. You're just friends, right? It was the same old excuse. I was sick of hearing it. I hung up and blocked him. The world was finally quiet. The next day, my social media posts. Julian said I'd just broken up with someone and needed a change of scenery. So, he cancelled all his work to focus on me. Day, a private jet experience. The accompanying photo showed me in the cockpit, wearing aviator sunglasses, with Julian, devastatingly handsome in his pilot's uniform, beside me. Day, yacht trip, never a bad day for fishing. The photo showed me beaming, holding a freshly caught big fish. Behind me was the clear blue sea, and Julian handing me a bottle of water. Day, he said this flower field suits me. The image was of a lavender field in Provence, with Julian kneeling to take the most beautiful photo of me. I specifically set the privacy settings for each photo so Ethan and all our mutual friends could see them. Ethan, as expected, went ballistic. He called me from countless different numbers, but I didn't answer a single one. He started sending me text messages. Audrey, you and Julian are from completely different worlds. He's just playing with you, don't be naive. He's a rich playboy with countless women around him, you can't compete with them. Please come back? I've already made things clear with Chloe, from now on, I'll only be good to you. Reading these text messages, I found them ridiculous. How dare he think I couldn't survive without him? How dare he think the next man I met would definitely be worse than him? That day, Julian and I were having dinner at a Michelin-starred restaurant. He cut his steak, then naturally swapped plates with me. Ethan's been messaging you again? Yeah. Blocking him won't work. People like him won't give you pee until you push them into the mud, Julian said, wiping his hands with a napkin, his tone flat. I didn't speak, quietly eating my steak. His phone rang, it was Ethan calling from an unknown number. Julian glanced at it, a smirk playing on his lips, then answered and put it on speaker. Who's this? Julian. Get back to me. Ethan's voice was hoarse. Mine? Julian raised an eyebrow, glancing at me. Since when was Audrey yours? I wasn't aware. We were together for 7 years. She's my girlfriend. Oh, ex-girlfriend, Julian slowly corrected him. Now, she's my sister. He deliberately emphasized the word sister. I'm warning you, stay away from her. You're not good enough for her. Ethan raged on the other end of the line. Julian chuckled. Whether I'm good enough or not isn't for you to decide. Instead of yelling at me, why don't you worry about your girl buddy? I heard she's recently taken a liking to the new intern at your company? Silence fell immediately on the other end of the line. Julian wasn't wrong. Chloe quickly found a new target. It was a rich second-generation intern who had just joined their company. Stories. It was the exact same tactic she'd used to reel in Ethan. Ethan finally saw Chloe for who she really was. He confronted her, they had a huge fight, and parted ways acrimoniously. He probably thought that with Chloe, the obstacle, removed, I would return to him. He started harassing me even more relentlessly. He showed up at my company building to confront me. Audrey, Chloe, and I are completely over. From now on, it's just you and me. He held a wilted bouquet of roses, looking haggard and pathetic. I walked around him, preparing to get into the car. Julian's car was parked nearby. Ethan rushed forward and clamped down on my wrist. Why won't you give me another chance? We had 7 years together. How can you just throw it all away? Let go, I said, my voice cold. No. Audrey, come back with me, let's start over. His grip was strong, making my wrist ache. Just then, a car door opened. Julian strode over, roughly pushed Ethan's hand away, and shielded me behind him. His expression was terrifyingly dark. Can't you understand plain English? Ethan's eyes turned red when he saw him. Julian. This is between Audrey and me. What right do you have to interfere? What right? Julian sneered. The right that she doesn't want to see you right now. He pulled a handkerchief from his pocket and meticulously wiped my wrist where Ethan had touched me, as if cleaning off something dirty. The gesture was utterly humiliating. Ethan's face instantly turned beet red. Audrey, is this how you treat me? Bringing this man to humiliate me? Looking at his distorted face, I suddenly felt completely uninterested. Ethan, we settled our scores a long time ago. You're the one who keeps showing up to make a fool of yourself. With that, I pulled Julian and turned to get into the car. Ethan shouted behind us, unwilling to give up. Audrey, you'll regret this. Julian isn't serious about you. The car window slowly rose, cutting off all his shouts. I leaned back against the seat, closing my eyes wearily. Julian handed me a bottle of water. Don't get angry over people like him, he's not worth it. I know. Tomorrow, Sotheby's autumn auction is happening, want to go? He changed the subject. What for? I remember you once admired a painting, one by an artist named Monet. I froze. That was a long time ago, when I was in college. I'd mentioned it to him casually while we were at a museum. I'd said I loved Monet's water and that someday, when I was rich, I'd definitely buy one to hang in my home. I thought he'd long forgotten about it. At the Sotheby's autumn auction, celebrities and socialites gathered. Wearing the gown Julian had chosen for me, sitting beside him, I felt like I was dreaming. Monet's water was the final auction lot of the evening. The starting bid was 80 million. I gasped, whispering to Julian, forget it, it's too expensive. Julian squeezed my hand, reassuring me. The bidding began, and the price steadily climbed. When the price reached 100 million, few people in the room were still raising their paddles. Just as the auctioneer was about to strike the gavel, Julian raised his paddle. 150 million. The entire room erupted in an uproar. Everyone turned to look our way. Ultimately, the painting was purchased by Julian for 150 million. The applause was thunderous. But I was so nervous my palms were sweating. Are you crazy? I whispered. No, he turned his head and smiled at me. It's worth every penny to see my sister happy. After the auction, we became the center of attention. Countless people approached Julian to chat, but their eyes subtly drifted to me, speculating about my identity. Julian kept me by his side, handling each interaction. Just then, an unwelcome guest appeared. It was Chloe. She was clinging to a slick-haired, effeminate young man, indeed, the rich in turn from their company. When she saw me, a flicker of jealousy crossed her eyes, quickly replaced by a righteous expression. Audrey, you're going too far. The moment she spoke, she drew everyone's attention. How could you get back at Ethan like this? He still cares about you. Do you know how upset he's been over you? Before I could speak, Julian chuckled. Excuse me, who are you? Chloe choked. What is your relationship with Ethan? Girlfriend? Fiancé? Neither? Then by what right do you presume to lecture someone associated with me? With each question Julian asked, Chloe's face grew a shade paler. I looked at her and finally spoke. Revenge? I'm just learning from you too. Didn't you say you and Ethan had a purely platonic friendship? Julian and I do too. I flicked my wrist, showing off the valuable diamond bracelet. What, your purely platonic friendship allows him to buy you bags and lipstick, but mine can't allow him to buy me a painting? Or is it that your purely platonic friendship is noble, while mine is ulterior motivated? Chloe was speechless, her face flushed crimson. I leaned in closer, speaking in a voice only she and I could hear. And stop calling him Ethan. He finds it disgusting, and so do I. Mind your own business. Don't let yourself get beaten up for being a homewrecker someday and then have to rely on your good brother to clean up your mess. Chloe's body trembled, and she looked at me in horror. How did I know she had previously interfered in someone else's relationship and been confronted by the offended spouse? Ethan had tearfully begged me to help him smooth things over. At that time I was truly pitifully naive. After that night, Chloe finally settled down. She was probably afraid I'd expose all her past indiscretions. Meanwhile, the news of Julian and me buying the incredibly expensive painting spread through our social circles. The next day, I took the painting to Audrey's parents' house. Richard and Susan were ordinary working-class people. They'd never seen so much money in their lives and were so shocked they almost dropped the painting. Audrey, this is too valuable. You need to give it back to Julian. Susan pulled me aside and said, Mom, it's his birthday gift to me. Even a birthday gift shouldn't be this expensive. It's over 100 million. Richard was calmer. He carefully put the painting away, then pulled me aside. Audrey, tell me honestly, what's your relationship with Julian? Friends. Just friends? Richard didn't believe me. Dad, I don't want to talk about relationships right now. Richard sighed and didn't press me further. Just be clear about what you want. As for that Ethan kid, you're not to have any contact with him again. Our family doesn't welcome him. Richard's words warmed my heart. Just as he was speaking, the doorbell rang. Susan went to open the door, and there, standing at the entrance, was Ethan. He looked at even more down and out than last time, unshaven and with sunken eyes. When he saw me, his eyes lit up, and he tried to rush inside. Audrey! Richard immediately blocked the doorway, his face livid. What are you doing here? You're not welcome. Richard, I need to see Audrey to explain things to her. Ethan said desperately. There's nothing to explain. Richard said curtly. My daughter was blind for 7 years, but now her eyes are open. Don't you dare come polluting her world again. Get out. With that, Richard slammed the door shut with a bang. Ethan frantically knocked on the door outside, calling my name. Susan was furious. What bad luck. How did he find this place? I looked at the closed door, my heart utterly calm. That door was like the door to my heart, which I had permanently closed to him. That evening, I recounted the incident to Julian, treating it as a joke. He was silent for a moment on the phone. Richard did the right thing. Tomorrow, he won't have another chance to bother any of you. The next day, I received a phone call from a former colleague. On the phone, my ex-colleague's voice was filled with shock and gossip. Audrey, guess what? Ethan got fired from the company. Why? I heard he offended some powerful figure. The investors for his project suddenly pulled out, the company suffered huge losses, and the boss fired him in a fit of rage. I understood immediately. It was Julian. He even went to find Chloe, but she completely ignored him, telling him in front of the whole company to stop bothering her. Now the entire company is laughing at him. He deserved it. He used to lord his position as project manager over us and treat us terribly. Now look at him, abandoned by everyone, with nothing left. I hung up the phone and looked out at the blue sky. It turned out that watching your enemy gradually destroy themselves, without lifting a finger, was an incredibly satisfying feeling. After was fired, he completely lost his source of income. His rented apartment lease expired, and the landlord kicked him out. He wanted to return to his hometown but didn't even have money for a train ticket. He started calling our former mutual friends, asking to borrow money. But everyone had seen through him, and also because of my relationship with Julian, no one dared to lend him money. With nowhere else to turn, he came to me again. That evening, Julian and I were out with friends at a bar. When we stepped out, we saw Ethan crouching in a corner by the bar entrance. When he saw me, he rushed over as if I were his last hope. Audrey! Julian's friends immediately shielded me, blocking Ethan. What do you want? Ethan ignored them, his eyes fixed intently on me. Audrey, can you lend me some money? I just need 500, no, 300 will do. I'll buy a train ticket and leave, I promise I won't bother you again. He was wearing a stained old t-shirt, his hair greasy, and a sour odor emanated from him. He was a far cry from the spirited Ethan I remembered from college, who had been dubbed the campus heartthrob. So this was his idea of doing better without me? I took several $100 bills from my wallet and handed them to one of Julian's friends. Give him this, and tell him to leave. The friend took the money and tossed it at Ethan's feet. Take the money and get lost. Ethan awkwardly bent down to pick up the scattered money. He picked up each bill, his fingers trembling. After collecting the money, he looked up, his bloodshot eyes staring intently at me. Audrey, are you gloating now? Are you happy to see me so down and out? I looked at him and suddenly smiled. Happy? Gloating? Ethan, you think too highly of yourself. To me, you were just a rotten tooth that needed to be extracted from my life. Now that the tooth is pulled and the infection cleared, I simply feel relieved. As for whether you're doing well, or if you live or die, it has nothing to do with me. My words, like a knife, utterly shattered his last shred of self-respect. He stumbled back a few steps, his gaze shifting from resentment to hatred, then finally settling into a dead emptiness. Holding those few $100, he walked away, utterly dejected. Watching him go, I felt not an ounce of sympathy. Those who are pitiable often have hateful qualities. Everything that happened to him today was his own doing. Julian walked over and draped his jacket over my shoulders. Let's go. I'll take you home. The car was quiet on the way back. As we neared my place, Julian suddenly spoke. Are you free tomorrow? Why? Come home with me. I want you to meet my grandfather. On the way to Julian's family estate, my hands were trembling with nervousness. That was the Julian family, a truly elite and powerful family. Don't be nervous, Julian squeezed my hand, his palm dry and warm. Grandpa is very kind, he's been wanting to meet you for a long time. Why would he want to meet me? To praise you, Julian grinned like a cat that got the cream. To praise you for helping him rein in this troublemaker, me. Julian's family estate was a sprawling estate, ancient and imposing. Grandpa was sitting under a grape arbor in the courtyard, sipping tea, looking more benevolent than I had imagined. When he saw me, he immediately smiled. You must be Audrey, right? Come over here and let Grandpa have a look. I walked over shyly and said, hello, Grandpa. Ah, yes, yes. Grandpa took my hand, looking me up and down. Even prettier than in the photos. Photos? I looked at Julian quizzically. Julian cleared his throat, his gaze evasive. That rascal saved all your social media posts, bragging about what a wonderful sister he has. Grandpa exposed him without mercy. My face instantly flushed. Julian's ears were also red. Grandpa. He rarely showed such embarrassment. Grandpa burst into laughter. After lunch at the Julian family estate, Julian took me to his room. His room was spacious, decorated in a minimalist black, white, and gray palette, perfectly matching his style. But traces of me were everywhere in the room. On the bookshelf, there was a photo of us from college. On the nightstand, sat the first birthday gift I'd ever given him, a rather ugly handmade mug. And on the wall, there was a sketch of me. The drawing depicted me laughing carefree, looking just as I did in college. In the bottom right corner of the drawing was a signature, LZ. Julian. My heart began to pound uncontrollably. You. I drew it in college, Julian said, wrapping his arms around me from behind, his chin resting on my shoulder. His voice held a barely perceptible hint of nervousness. Audrey, I've liked you for a long time. Since freshman year, when you wore a white dress and spoke as the freshman representative at the orientation ceremony, I liked you. But I was such a mess back then, afraid I couldn't give you the stability you deserved, so I never dared to say anything. Then, you got together with Ethan. I could only stay by your side as your male best friend. Watching you cry and laugh for him, I was consumed with jealousy. Audrey, I don't want to be your male best friend anymore. He turned my body so I was facing him. His gaze was earnest and focused. Will you give me a chance to be your boyfriend? Tears immediately welled up in my eyes and streamed down my face. So I wasn't acting alone in this one-person play after all. It turned out that all my undefinable feelings had been reciprocated. I stood on tiptoe and kissed him. I will, stories. Our mutual friend showered us with blessings. Congratulations. Julian finally got his happily ever after. I told you guys it was a purely platonic friendship, a friendship that just wanted to sleep together. I'll bring the courthouse to you. Marry him right here, right now. I couldn't stop smiling as I read the comments. Julian hugged me from behind, snatched my phone, and replied to the friend who'd offered to be our ing the courthouse. Julian, soon. My cheeks were burning, and I playfully hit him. Stop teasing. Instead, he took my hand and kissed it, holding it to his lips. I'm not teasing, I'm serious. Audrey, let's get married. He hadn't prepared a grand proposal ceremony, nor a diamond ring the size of a pigeon's egg. It was simply on a very ordinary afternoon that he uttered the most moving words of love in the most understated tone. Yet, my heart was completely full. Yes. We met both our parents soon after. Richard and Susan were absolutely thrilled with Julian as their son-in-law. They showered him with concern and affection, treating him even more warmly than they did me, their own daughter. Grandpa was even more delighted, gifting me a sprawling estate on the spot as a welcoming present, and announcing he'd transfer 10% of Julian's family's corporation's shares to my name. I waved my hands frantically, taken aback, but pressed my hand. If Henry gives it to you, just accept it. From now on, everything belonging to the Julian family is yours. My life seemed to have hit the fast-forward button. Happiness I once thought was unattainable had simply, easily arrived. Sometimes, I even felt it was surreal. Julian seemed to sense my unease. He held me close and whispered, Audrey, you don't need to feel indebted, nor do you need to think you're just lucky. All of this is what you deserve. You are wonderful and deserve the best of everything in the world. He was right. I was wonderful. Ethan simply lacked discernment, mistaking me, a pearl, for a common fish-eye. But, from the very beginning, knew my worth. And he put all his effort into cherishing me. Julian and I set our wedding for autumn. On the eve of the wedding, I received a photo message from an unknown number. It was a picture. Ethan was lying on a hospital bed, his face ashen, covered in medical tubes. Below it was a line of text, he has late-stage stomach cancer and wants to see you one last time before he dies. The sender was Ethan's mother. I handed my phone to Julian. Julian read it, his expression darkening. "Do you want to go?" he asked me. I shook my head. "No. He and I settled our scores a long time ago. Whether he lives or dies now is none of my concern. I don't want to see someone irrelevant before my wedding and attract bad luck." Julian gently stroked my head. "Okay, as you wish." He took my phone and directly sent a text message back. "Sorry, she's unavailable. She's busy trying on her wedding gown, getting ready to marry me." Then, he blocked the number permanently. A few days later, I heard the news of Ethan's death. It was late one night, he had jumped from the hospital window, ending his young life. I didn't attend his funeral. Stories. Rest in peace, my dear brother. Next life, don't be so foolish. The photo was a black and white picture of her and Ethan. Beneath it, a crowd of people liked and commented, all lamenting Ethan's untimely demise. I looked at that post and just felt it was ironic. If she truly considered Ethan her good brother, she wouldn't have turned a blind eye to him when everyone else abandoned him. Now that he was dead, she came out to play the role of a devoted friend. It was sickening. I turned off my phone, not wanting to see any more of this upsetting stuff. Julian walked over and hugged me from behind. "What are you thinking about?" "Nothing. Audrey, let the past stay in the past. Just look at me." He turned my body and kissed me deeply. He was right. Everything from the past needed to be turned over. My life had already entered a brand new chapter. And in this chapter, the protagonists were only Julian and I. Our wedding was held on a private island resort. Sunlight, sandy beaches, turquoise sea, and blue skies. Wearing my white wedding gown, I walked arm in arm with Richard, step by step, towards Julian, who stood at the end of the flower-lined aisle. He was in a white suit, looking more handsome than I had ever seen him. He looked at me, his eyes filled with what seemed like starlight. Richard placed my hand in his and solemnly said, "Son, I'm entrusting my precious daughter to you. If you ever dare to hurt her, I won't let you get away with it." "Richard, don't worry." Julian gripped my hand tightly and promised solemnly, "I won't. I will only spend my life loving her, protecting her, and making her the happiest woman in the world." The moment we exchanged rings, I watched him place the unique diamond wedding ring on my finger, and tears still spilled uncontrollably. These weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of happiness. This was what it felt like to be chosen so decisively. At the reception after the wedding, I received countless well wishes. My friends, Julian's friends, and all those socialites who had once been curious about my identity. Now, they looked at me with nothing but envy and respect in their eyes. Because I was Julian's wife, the rightful mistress of the Julian family estate. Halfway through the dinner, a waiter hurried over and whispered a few words into Julian's ear. Julian's expression shifted. "What's wrong?" I asked. "It's nothing," he said, patting my hand reassuringly. "Just a small issue. I'll go take care of it and be right back." After he left, I felt a persistent sense of unease. I secretly followed him out. In the corridor outside the ballroom, I saw Julian. And she was being held by two bodyguards, her hair disheveled, makeup smudged, screaming hysterically at Julian. "Julian, how dare you treat me like this? I just wanted to come to the wedding and congratulate Audrey. How can you not let me in?" "Congratulate?" Julian sneered. "Do you deserve to? The fact that I haven't thrown you directly off this island today is my greatest act of mercy. Chloe, I'm warning you. Stay far away from my wife from now on. If I ever see you in front of her again, I will make you disappear from this world entirely." His voice was low, but it carried a chilling ruthlessness. Chloe was terrified, her face pale, unable to utter a single word. The bodyguards dragged her away, and she quickly disappeared down the corridor. Julian turned and saw me standing not far away. He froze for a moment, then quickly walked towards me. "Why did you come out?" Did you hear everything?" I nodded. He pulled me into his arms and sighed. "Did I scare you?" I shook my head, burying my face in his chest. "No. I just felt a sense of peace. It was wonderful to have a man like this, protecting me without reservation. Life after marriage was as sweet as honey. Julian utterly spoiled me. I didn't have to work, waking up naturally every day. Breakfast, made by him, would be waiting for me when I woke. In the afternoons, he'd accompany me shopping, to movies, or travel with me around the world. He said he wanted to make up for all the hardships I had endured over the past 7 years, twofold. I quickly became pregnant. Julian was even more anxious than I was, wanting to keep me by his side 24 hours a day. Grandpa was absolutely overjoyed, hiring over a dozen nannies and nutritionists for me, doting on me like a precious treasure. After 9 months of pregnancy, I gave birth to an adorable son. The little one looked very much like Julian, especially his eyes, which were dark and bright. Julian completely became a doting father, holding our son every day, unwilling to let go. Wife, look how much he's like me. Wife, he smiled at me today. Wife, I think he just said Papa. Watching his childish antics, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The once arrogant city's most eligible bachelor had now become a goofy dad. And I, from a heartbroken woman abandoned by her ex-boyfriend, had transformed into a queen cherished by her husband and family. I often wondered, what would my life be like now if I hadn't dialed Julian's number on that desperate birthday night? Perhaps I'd still be grieving over Ethan's emo tional abuse, still battling wits with his girl buddy Chloe, and still struggling with self-doubt and self-denial. Thankfully, I didn't. I bravely took that step, and then, I met my salvation. That day, Julian, our son, and I were taking a stroll in the park. A familiar yet unfamiliar figure walked toward us. It was Ethan's mother. She looked much older than when I last saw her, with streaks of gray in her hair and her eyes clouded. She froze when she saw us too. Her gaze fell on the child in my arms, then shifted to the handsome and attentive Julian beside me, her eyes filled with complex emotions. There was jealousy, resentment, and a hint of regret. We passed each other. I didn't look back, nor did I greet her. To us, we were nothing more than strangers. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, dappling us with warmth. Julian leaned down and kissed my forehead. What are you thinking about? I shook my head and smiled. Just thinking how lovely the weather is today. Yes, the weather was truly lovely. My world was perfectly clear and bright. As for the dust in the dark corners, it had long been scattered by the wind. It turned out that beating magic with its own magic was incredibly satisfying. And even more satisfying than that was having someone willing to create a whole new world of magic for you, filled only with light and love. Thanks for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.